why do boards struggle to provide corporate leadership from the level of governorship where you are all the way down to the managerial structure downwards? Why do boards struggle? What is the problem? We talk about it, but we don't just do it.
This is very loud. That's a bit of a tough question. I think that there are some boards who struggle. There's some that don't. In the main, the more well-resourced boards of companies, your multinationals and so on, tend to focus a lot on governance, on ethics, on values, and on pushing that all the way down the companies. The smaller companies with fewer resources are struggling even to be profitable in whatever area it is they have chosen, and believe, I'm sure, at the level of some of the smaller SMEs, for example, they may be 10, 15 years old. It's such a struggle in West Africa, in the developing country, just to survive, that governance is not top of their list. And usually that's the first thing to go when they are faced with huge problems.
Survival.
And remember that, in Ghana, for example, 2013-14, we didn't have the Ebola crisis. It was in other countries in West Africa, but it definitely affected the performance of our economy. All these little hotels and hospitality institutions that were expecting droves of tourists to come in, all of a sudden, there was nobody there. And these hotels would sit open with staff, air conditioners running, and so on and so forth, no business. In those kinds of circumstances, the first thing on your mind is not governance, it's survival and how you are going to manage to continue to pay salaries. On top of that, then you had Dumso for a good 2 years, and all kinds of companies collapsed. In this very fragile economic environment, I think it's difficult for the smaller companies to look at governance and think that that is the most important thing at all times.
I hear you, and I 100% agree with you on that. But on the other hand, is it also the case that especially CEOs and MDs and management staff see boards and corporate governance as an obstacle? There's a perception sometimes that it's an obstacle. Don't you think so?
No, I do agree with you there. So we start from the position where they think really you are unimportant. When we are here making money, then people want to chop board fees, is their approach, right? Yeah. And they don't understand that the whole governance paradigm needs to start with the board. I have had one of my fellow directors having been complaining that he was being treated like a mushroom as a director. Treated like a mushroom means that he was kept in the dark and fed manure all the time. In short, management will not tell you the truth. You are seen as an obstacle if you attempt to find out what is truly going on in the company. You may even be seen as somebody who's trying to undermine management. You are right. In the main, management tends to see the board not as an adjunct to the business, but as a problem. However, that is the old way of thinking, and I think that increasingly people are moving away from there, particularly with the new governance codes that in the banking sector that the Bank of Ghana has come out with. It's now something that banks, for example, and savings and loans institutions have to abide by.